Greetings and welcome to Metaphysical Awakenings with Barbara and Eric. This is episode 11, and today's episode is titled, You Gotta Keep on Moving.
Wow, what a mouthful. What made you think of this?
Well, a few minutes ago we were discussing the topics that we've been coming up with, and originally when we started the series, I thought it was going to be all topics that you wanted to discuss, all the things that have been going on in your life. But what I've been realizing over the past, we're over now 10 episodes
Yes.
now, that about half of these topics are ones that have just been personal ones to me, like just things that we go through toward life. So I was having that discussion with you a few minutes ago, like, is this matching like what we're trying to do with this channel and what it is? Because it's different than what I initially thought it was going to be.
It always is. We have an idea and God blows it up into great, big, much more broad brush strokes, if you will. You know, not everything will be or land in the valley of metaphysical. It may just be life. But, you know, you can't stop moving forward. And you got to keep, ain't nothing going to break in my stride. Nobody going to slow me down. Whoa, no. We've got to keep on moving. If we don't keep moving, then we become stagnant in our mud puddle. And it's okay for us to do that every once in a while. Mm-hmm. At that point, that's where I am going to get metaphysical, because I want to shoot you up into the oak tree to see where it is we need to get back. What do we need to reclaim? What do we need to redo, if anything? Or do we just need to say, okay, you know what? Enough of this mud. I'm going to move forward. I can't stay in this spot, because what is always constant?
I guess the reason I didn't want to call it we always have to move forward is because sometimes I feel like whenever we move, it's not necessarily forward. Yes, in the space-time continuum, yes, we are always moving forward, we're always going there. But more of a metaphysical way, sometimes we have to move backwards a few steps in order to move forward many more steps.
Okay, I would call that expanding. We expand. It's not forward, it's not backward, it just is. It's not good, it's not bad, it just is. When we expand, then we are encompassing all things and taking all things into consideration. Thank you for the God bumps on my head, by the way. Ooh, that hit me hard.
I really like the way that you just explained it, because, forward, backward, to me, that's very two-dimensional. It's one direction, other direction, but with expansion, it gives you more of that 3D view of things.
3D, 4D, 5D, because when you expand, we live in 3D, the third dimension, but the fourth dimension is opening to that which we call spirit, angels, all of our guides. The expansion of our lives is the expansion of our minds as well. It doesn't mean our body going do-dee-doo, walking down the road. It encompasses all aspects of the spiritual being having this human experience.
Wow, so profound. Yeah, so I guess personally the reason I wanted to bring it up is, I guess more recently I've been feeling stuck in some ways.
Okay.
And I've started taking some actions to becoming unstuck. Mm-hmm. One thing I notice is I've been gaining a few pounds.
Oh, you didn't have to confess that. Yeah.
I will. And yeah. But yesterday I took the step of moving forward, and I did my workout. And I'm going to do my workout also today, and I'm going to continue moving forward. And for a while I was continuing moving forward and working out until I got to a place where I was like, I'm feeling pretty good about myself.
Yes.
This feels good. So now I've achieved this place, and I can just enjoy it and not do anything else.
You know what I'm going to liken that to? And I'm going to get all serious here all of a sudden.
Please do.
Because the human condition seems to do that. We get to a point where we're, yay. And that also has to do with things in our health, our mental health even. We get to the bottom finally and find a medication that helps us along, and then we feel really great. Well, we don't need that medication anymore. Well, that's not the truth, because the medication is what came and balanced us. It's the same situation with different variables.
Okay.
So I just felt that comparison coming in. So those of us who may take medication, good. I work, God works. Keep working. We're going to plateau here and everywhere, whether it's our workout, whether it's our jobs, whether it's, our talents, or our meds, because, remember that the human body can become accustomed. It's as though our brain is so smart that it alters to the new way of being with medication. And that's why it's really important that we go and be retested by our physicians to check where we are, what we're doing, and make sure that we are at the correct dosage or place where we need to be. We cannot take this life for granted.
Wow, that's... I did not expect you to bring up that point. It just in the past couple days, I've been listening to various stories shared online about people who have gotten to that point to where they are feeling so good about themselves from taking that medication that they all of a sudden decide, I don't need that medication anymore. And they get off of it. And they do fine for a week or two, and then after that, they become a complete nut job, and
right, well,
and their life just spirals out of control and everything like that. So
I wouldn't say nut job, but things things do start to spiral completely out of control, because you can't just. And what I was saying there is, taking the medication, your brain waves alter, and you can't just stop doing that and expect your brain to automatically reset itself. You are going to have physiological reactions.
Right.
And that will cause people to do some crazy, nutty things sometimes. So, yeah, I'm with you there.
Yes. So, didn't expect it to go that direction.
Well, neither did I.
That is part of it. And you got to keep on moving forward, whether it's, in this case, taking your medication, or, going back to your doctor and reassessing things.
Yes, very important. Very important.
Because we're always moving forward. Things are always changing, and what might have worked for you a month ago, a year ago, may not work for you today. So being willing to move forward and do that.
And there's another point that you caused me to think of, is when I have my clients journal where they are, and they're journaling what's going on in their lives, and perhaps they've made some changes with their mind, body, spirit, whatever the case may be. That's a good guidepost to come back to. Oh, remember when I felt this way? How do I attain that again? That or something better, as Michael's song says.
Yeah, that's right. God never says no. He says, not yet, or I got something better
in mind. Yeah, that's a Unity saying that he turned into a song. That's just absolutely fabulous.
That's one of my favorites right there.
Michael Triandafils is a singer-songwriter that we reference a lot. Look him up. He's priceless.
Yes.
Priceless human being. We love him.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So, moving forward.
Yes.
Sometimes, as I say in pretty much every episode, it can be easier said than done. Sometimes we are stuck in that mud puddle and we are in that void. And I think to a certain appropriate amount, it's healthy to be in that void, to be in that unknown, to be in that mud puddle and recognize where you're at.
Right.
Because if you go through that too fast and don't recognize it, then you're going to be in that mud puddle
again down the road. Again. That's that why on the road that we've talked about before, where the answers are both right, but one is a repeating pattern. And, I'm glad you brought that up, because it's so important that we understand when things don't go at the pace or at what our expectation thought they were, we get what I call the hurry up and wait. Hurry up and wait. Okay, I'm waiting. What am I waiting for? Do. Well, there's many, many, many reasons why we hurry up and wait. And if we start to see that as a gift from Spirit to go over what we've just seen, what we've just done, how do we expand upon the information or the things that have just come through? I mean, this is where the big ideas start to come through.
That's right.
In the downtime.
Yeah, many of my biggest ideas or greatest contemplation of like what goals, where I want to go from have not been at my highest points of life. They've been at my lowest points of life.
Yep.
Like, hey, I'm no longer happy where I am at this moment. Like, what I want to do to make it better. And
perfect.
Sometimes you have to get to that low point in order for change to happen.
Absolutely. And change can happen anywhere, but the point of being at a low point, I believe, is so that the spirituality of the human condition can step in and help us reassess where we are to move next. Remember, no matter what happens in your life, no matter where you are, coming, going, or in your hurry up and wait, you have got to remember to put God in the middle of it, because God's going to show you the way every time. You know, I have so many friends that call and want to talk about this, and I've just had a health scare, and I just have to say, well, we've gotten this far and God hasn't dropped you on your head yet. What would make you think that God's going to drop you on your head this time?
Exactly.
And then they have to think.
And that helps them move forward.
Yes.
Having a friend there to kind of challenge some of their current life views, their stagnation, can help moving forward.
100%. I don't think she's going to mind too much. And I'm going to tell a little story on my dear friend Hannah, who has come through some serious bouts of cancer. And at one point, I was very, very frightened that I was going to lose my friend, at least her physical. And she is on my album, The Divine Blues by Barbara McGillicuddy. And she's the one who's my bestie in the song called Don't Let the Bed Bug Bite. It's just a funny little rap. And, she's in her 70s. But the long story short was she got a very scary test back.
Right.
Lab back. And she was told to go home and wait to hear from them. Can you imagine when she's come through cancer and now she's got 2 new lesions, and they're saying go home, hurry up and wait.
How can you move forward in that situation?
You have to put God in it. You have to.
Yeah.
And then you use your phone a friend.
Yeah.
Because she called me up and she says, well, Barb, whatever it is, I want to take you to lunch and it's my treat. And I'm like, wow, you are the bomb, woman. And then the great news came. Just a couple of days ago, the lesions were not cancer.
Oh.
Praise
Amen.
God.
All right.
Thank you, Lord. But there again,
I love that she just wanted to take you out to lunch.
Yes, because you can't sit and dwell on these problems, because that's when the problems grow in your mind and they grow in your body, don't they? Remember?
And that's a powerful act of faith right there, moving forward, not knowing what the outcome's going to be, but saying, I'm going to take the next step forward and I'm going to go out and live life.
Girlfriend, take my hand. We're going to go pig out at the next Italian restaurant, and we're just going to talk about how we love life and what's coming up and the great things that God showed to us, and how we're going to live our lives, regardless of what this scan shows. She's never going to be alone. She's got friends galore. But the point was, I really could not. I felt it in my psychic way that there is no way that these lesions are going to be cancer. There's just no way. So even though my human side was very scared, when I would go to my spirituality and allow God to put that calming balm on me once again, I knew.
The calming balm.
The calming balm. That's BALMD.
Oh, balm. Got it. I was thinking like an explosion of calmness. I was like trying to process that. But I see like a balm that you apply.
Well, remember, speaking of Michael Triandafils, we've just come through 2 horrible hurricanes. And before Hurricane Milton came and popped us in Florida, Michael and I decided that it was time for the song, the Hurricane Blues, to be sung. And it's called With a Prayer Bomb. God's gonna blow this storm away. And you know what? In our area, with our prayer, we were so fortunate. And does that mean that we stopped praying for those who weren't? Absolutely not. You know, we never know. It could have been us.
It could have been us. And this time, it was not us. Almost everyone I know came out relatively unscathed. And I'm so thankful for that. But, our hearts go out to everyone affected by Hurricane Milton and Hurricane Helene that came in earlier. Especially, my heart is on those up north who got affected by Hurricane Helene, like those in Georgia and Tennessee, Kentucky, North Carolina, South Carolina. Those who are not used to having hurricanes come in, like this is like a once in a 500 year type of flooding, and it just
blindsided them.
It did.
It completely blindsided these people. They're sitting there eating their breakfast in 1 minute, and the next, the landslide.
That thing went through so fast because, in terms of Hurricane Helene, that hit, Florida around like in evening. And by the next morning, it was up there, 400, 500 miles, wreaking havoc all of a sudden. But what's been really endearing to watch is those communities coming together and helping each other. People coming with their 4-wheel drives and picking up as much supplies as they can from their local stores and just bringing up the places that are the most affected, the places that have, logs in the middle of the road or to reach others. And I guess that's kind of the silver lining of these terrible natural disasters is that humankind kind of steps up whenever it's most needed. And that gives me faith that we are good. We are inherently good.
Right.
Because God is good and we are reflections of God, we are inherently good. Now, do we always, because of free will, are we always in alignment with that goodness?
Well,
we're here to learn. Not as humans, but we're here to learn. And that's a gift. That's a gift. So those times whenever you see the unfortunateness and people being not their best selves and things like that, those are people in the process of learning.
Yeah. And or in the process of something they never, they don't, a lot of the times this happens and there's absolutely no understanding. They want to say, where is God?
Yes. If God is good, why would he allow this?
Wow.
A lot of times it's the he. Or why would God allow this?
Why would God allow this? Well, because we have free will down here. And we opted to come to the earth plane to live, learn, grow. And that's exactly what we're doing. The good, the bad, the ugly, the happy, the peaceful. It's all part of the human condition. And we don't get to pick and choose all of the time.
Right.
We have to lean on the people who show up in the bad times. The humanity of the human condition shows up in droves every time.
Yeah. Given that there's 7-8 billion of humans in the world,
Gosh.
And we all have this free will, the spaghetti models, the different trajectories of possibilities are so intertwined to a degree that probably fastest supercomputer couldn't predict what happens.
Right.
But there's certain ebbs and flows to where you see that like humanity rises up to collectively to address a certain situation, which gives me hope.
Well, I'll tell you, you just brought up a very good point. Because in the worst possible times of life, the humanity grows and expands. When we're all happy and everything's hunky-dory and going well, we don't necessarily have that reach out in humanity, do we? Because it's quote-unquote not necessary for us at the time. It's always necessary somewhere.
That's right.
And we just must learn not to A, take things for granted, or B, and the bigger one, blame God when things go bad.
Yes.
God is always there. God is always there. We have to remember to call God to us. We have to see God.
Wow, you've really changed my way of thinking as far as growth in terms of going backwards, or movement in terms of going backwards or forwards, because either direction, it's expansion.
Yeah.
It's all one and the same, and that's like a higher level of thinking rather than backwards or forwards. So just moving is expansion. And one of the best things that I've learned is anytime I'm feeling down, depressed, unworthy, whatever it is, just to take a walk. And I know not all of us are capable of doing those, but for those of you who are, sometimes just taking a walk helps you walk the blues away.
True.
One of my heroes, Tom Hartman, he's a podcast speaker. He wrote a book called Walking the Blues Away. And yeah, I think it's just a really good way to keep on moving. And by doing that, you're working your muscles, you're working your heart, your blood's flowing more, you're working your mind. And then whenever you get up to it, hey, maybe take a slow jog. Maybe eventually get up to a slow run and maybe a fast run and start working out and just keep on moving forward. Keep on doing you. And it's all right if you are currently stuck and need to be stuck for a certain amount of time. Just recognize what the healthy amount of time is to be stuck. And if you start feeling stuck longer than you know it's healthy to be stuck, that's the time to, like you said, phone a friend.
Yep.
Or, just take that first step of, just taking a walk.
Mm-hmm. I like your take a walk. However, my down and out slow sit down in my mud puddle time to pull myself out is to put on music. And in those times, I'm inspired to write new music. Always.
That's moving.
My downtime becomes an up time because everything else becomes a rhyme. Sorry. But really and truly, that's how my mind rolls. I can sit there and feel sorry for myself, and I can, I don't feel well, or this or that or the other thing. And I can put on a favorite song, a favorite playlist. I'm up. Or I can turn on a channel that I know I'm going to be inspired. Whether it's gospel. I happen to like the blues. It can be the 1940s. It doesn't matter. Whatever it is for you, that music is a mood changer. It gets us out of our head.
Great strategy. And
allows us to go to another place rather than sit there and feel sorry for ourselves, all locked up in our minds going, oh my gosh, what's coming? And, there are just a whole lot of people who are afraid because the other shoe's going to drop. Well, of course the other shoe's going to drop. Otherwise, you're not going to walk. But it's that shoe, once again, is not good or bad.
Right.
It's just a shoe, you guys. It's just a shoe.
For many, including myself at times, moving forward or moving in general can bring up some fear.
There we go again with fear. And this is what we're all about on this channel, is alleviating unnecessary fear.
So if I'm in that situation to where I don't want to move forward and I'm just fearful of it, what can I do?
Well, once again, you can phone a friend, or I can give you a thought and how to think your way through this. First of all, always put God in the middle of it, okay? And if you have this inherent fear, I want you to be brave and go to the absolute worst possible scenario.
Oh.
Go there. Go there, because we're going to disempower it. All right? If it takes me off the planet, well, then you know what? I get to go home to all of my loved ones, my friends, my beloved animals who have crossed over. If I get to stay, I get to stay with my loved ones, my friends, and all of my animals who have not crossed over. I'm a win-win.
Wow. Yeah, by going to the worst possible scenario, you're going to that absolute source of the fear.
You have to.
You are seeing it eye to eye.
Yep.
And recognizing it's not what I saw back here. I now see you right up and close.
Yep.
And I don't want to say it's as bad as it would be, but it's different.
It's different because you're calling it. You're calling, okay, I am not fearful now. What about this caused me to feel fear? Go right to the bottom of it. Is this my fear? Is this something that has happened to me? Is this an old way of thinking that is coming back up to try to drag me backward? Or am I in a possible bad situation that I need to get myself out of? What kind of fear is it?
Right.
Don't be a dweller. Be a fixer. Fear is here to teach us. It is a man-made, nonsensical, stupid thing that derails almost everybody at times. And again, we can walk back through, okay, now I'm back in my mud puddle. And we've got all that walking we can get back through with all of the things we've spoken about. Or we can look at fear and say, I was afraid of the fear. What is the fear? Oh, it's disappeared now.
Wow. You were sharing earlier today a story about a friend I think from high school who maybe was kind of stuck or is currently stuck.
Very stuck. So, back in high school, when you're these young girls and you're growing through what you grow through as young women, the need to feel needed and loved and worthy is very strong.
And accepted.
Accepted is the biggest one of all. And unfortunately, there are some people who get stuck in that time of their life. And this friend sadly happens to be one. Now, I haven't spoken to her in 25 years probably.
Okay.
But she phoned a friend of mine who shared with me a little bit about what was going on. And it blew my mind when my friend says to me, she wants to know what you think of her. And
I didn't realize it's been 25 years since you've talked with her. And she still wants to know what you think of her.
What I think of, nothing personal, but I'm not thinking of her. She hasn't been in my computer screen in how many years now?
Wow.
Why would I be thinking of her, about her? Now that you bring it up, I can go back to, we're taking their dad's car, going out to the beach, having a great time. But that's when I was 16 years old, 17 years old. I don't have that feeling anymore. That's a happy memory. But the problem is this person is stuck in her unworthiness of self, worrying about what other people think of her. And I said to my friend, There's a book out there by Terry. I can't remember her name. Forgive me. But the title of it is Other People's Opinion of Me is None of My Business.
Mm-hmm.
When I first heard that, I was fully liberated. Oh my God, it's the truth. Other people's opinion of me is what has stymied me in the past. Oh, what are they going to think? What are they going to do? Oh my gosh. Especially turning the big battleship to the way of spiritual thinking and out of the norm of what, used to be. Am I a pioneer? No. Yes. I don't know what I am. But what I am not is worried about what other people think of me, because I've got too much to do to worry about that. You brought up, excuse me for interrupting your thought.
No, please, you're on a roll. Go.
You brought up how Joel Osteen helped you walk through that.
Yes.
In the realm of he thinks so much. Like, I love listening to him because he's a walking affirmation for me.
Positive, inspirational.
Right. And can you imagine if that man thought about all of the naysayers and the haters out there, and he dwelled in that energy, where he'd be?
Because he's got a lot of them.
Which is, and it's not fair because he's a great guy, but there it is, there again,
I think he has a lot more people who love him and just are so grateful for his presence. But that's what happens whenever you get like to any celebrity or any person who becomes famous. There's going to be people who love them and people who don't. And I've heard the saying that 25% of people will love you for who you are, and no matter what you do, they'll still love you. Another 25% will love you who you are, but there could be something that you do that will cause them not to love you.
Fair weather.
There's another 25% of you who will, and maybe the word love is too strong, who will like you, who won't like you,
accept you,
or won't accept you. But there's something that you could do that would cause them to accept you. And then there's another 25% of people who won't like you, and there's nothing you can do that will make them like you.
Turn the page. Yeah.
So recognizing that, hey, there's going to be a certain percentage of people who will never like you or accept you. Hey, but the great thing is, like we were mentioning earlier, there's like, 7-8 billion people in the world. And I think that the percentages are pretty good.
Yes.
To where you're going to find someone in your life who will not only love you and like you for who you are, but no matter what you do, they will still love you and like you.
Take everyone at face value until they give you a reason to not. Allow room for us to trip and fall. We're not perfect. You don't have to be a celebrity to fall into that, 25 here, 25 there. It's just the way that life is. People tend to put, here we go, another whole Oprah show coming up.
All right, let's hear it.
But people tend to put what is happening to them in the moment on somebody else. Projection 101. And it's their stuff they're projecting onto somebody else because they just don't want to be alone, or for whatever reason, it makes them feel better about themselves. Mm-hmm. And again, put God in the middle of it first. And don't worry. Please, please. Other people's opinion of you is none of your business. Move on, roll on, because those, what do they call them, haters?
Yeah.
Are irrelevant to you. They can't steal your energy unless you
allow
give
it
to them.
Unless you give it to them. Yes.
That's part of moving forward too.
Sometimes cutting out people or things that no longer serve you.
It has to happen. It's hurtful. It really is. I get it. It's hurtful, but it's necessary. If they can't love you right where you're at, then you have to move on. Now, you can go on loving everybody right where they're at, but you can't expect them to make the big turn that you're making at the same time that you're making it, because they're not there yet.
Yeah.
We're all on different levels, see?
That's right.
And if we could just take everyone at face value and love them right where they're standing, with all of their faults, with all of their talents, with all of their love, with all of their misgivings or misjudgments, we could move forward a whole hell of a lot faster on this earth plane toward love and acceptance.
That's right. So, we encourage you, just keep on moving. And what I've really learned from this is you're not moving forward or backward. You're just expanding.
Yeah.
You're just move, just be part of that growth, be part of this
expansion period.
Expansion.
Yeah.
And this human existence, because the time that we are no longer moving is whenever we are no longer here. And so we have this gift of being here.
Oh gosh.
So why not just move and just see where it takes you, and know that God is on your side.
Always and forever. Thank you. That was beautiful. Are you ready for the prayer?
Let's do it. Prayer of protection. Here we go.
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God watches over us.
The presence of God.
Watch it. We're going to have to redo this.
All right, let's try it again.
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God
protects us.
And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Okay, we're going to have to do this again. You're going to have to cut. All right.
Or we can just show them the authentic part of...
We befuddled it. Okay, you're right. I said we're not going to... We're human. Yep, there you go. See, that's my need to be perfectionist again. Well, that wasn't right. We're going to have to cut that and start that again. That's just, you know what?
I think God will know where our heart is. Yeah?
Have a beautiful week. And remember, we're not perfect either.
That's all right. We'll see you next time.
Bye.